Yeah, I think I feel a lot better today than I did, probably after the bowl game and, where we're going. And it just, we're playing catch up in a couple positions still, and quarterback and, some other areas, offensive line, safety. There's classes missing that there's guys that should be developed in a program and be ready. And so, we're playing catch up in quarterback, certainly an area that we're doing that as well. But I thought our ability to address that and get our kind of guys to fit those molds, I know we're certainly excited about. So I feel better about it today than I certainly did, a year ago or 2 years ago. I think the thing that we do a really good job is we are who we are. We try not to be somebody we're not. I think in Brock's situation, we, still in a short amount of time, we were able to develop a really good relationship, but we didn't sell him on flash. We didn't promise them the world. We were who we were, and I think sometimes people don't realize that that's enough. I think there was a real investment in relationship, and really, I think at the end of it, that might have been the difference. But I don't think there was anything other than that really stood out from our end of it, other than between Coach Manning and that offensive staff and myself. We're trying to be who we are and not try to be somebody else. The intangible that you look at completion percentage, you look at, the yards he threw for, those things are all great, but man, you go and dissect his film, and I told him this, I've looked at your interceptions, and those are things that he's got such great command of the offense, and number two, you don't see him making a lot of mistakes. Even the interceptions are tip balls. They're not like balls thrown behind or inaccuracies in his ability to throw the football. He's a really accurate passer, and I appreciate that. And certainly he's got the ability to, make some things happen with his feet. But his investment in terms of football, you see he's running the show. It's his offense. Coach did a great job giving it to him, but he's not looking back to the sideline. He's running the whole show, and it's pretty impressive. Well, I think the immediate need was the specialists. You're losing a senior punter and a senior kicker, and I know that's not the flashy answer today, like everybody wants to talk about, but if you don't have them, then it becomes a really flashy disaster come next fall. So I think that was really big for us. It was a situation. We got the number one punter on our board. We got the number one kicker on our board. We put a lot of time and effort into identifying who those guys were, do they fit, and it was great to be able to go get those two guys. I think that part really good. The mid-year signee, I really believe at safety. I think Greg Eisworth, that was you lose 3 starters to get somebody that's a veteran that has some of that experience that Greg has, but also you're talking about a kid that was a 4.0 kid in high school, a kid that did a phenomenal job academically at Ole Miss. A guy that gets it, he's a quarterback. He's got all those intangibles that we look for. Those are things that I thought were really important, at least to bridge the gap in some of those areas that maybe we need to. I just the maturity, I would say, Tommy, of all 5 of those kids is what's been really outstanding. And, the 3 high school guys that we brought in, I think just their ability. I've always said when you're a high school player and you graduate early, you're like in the dark days of college football. Like nobody loves January and February, waking up and 6 a.m., eat right, you're getting pounded in the weight room, you're running, all those things that nobody wants to talk about, but really what goes on in college football, and you get thrusted into that where sometimes when you come in June, you get football in slow doses. And, so those 3 kids have really done a phenomenal job. And then obviously with our junior college guys and Greg and and I just think those guys have all just really adapted really well, and I think more than anything that's probably a credit to our own players and the culture that's finally inside of our walls to say, hey, listen, we're going to help you out and we're going to take great care of you and we're going to show you how to. So I give our football players a lot of credit too, but I think all those guys have really done a great job fitting in. Well, I think both are different, but yet the same. Tavon's one of those guys that you look at his videotape, and then you look at his track times, and you look at what he's done in terms of his jumping and his explosion. I think it jumps off the film. A guy that's a punt returner, a kick returner, he does a little bit of everything, and I think that really has certainly helped his success, and it was easy to identify him. He played in a state championship team. He was a kid that, he was a captain on his football team. He's got all those intangibles, those it factors, a 4.0 student on top of it. So, when you're talking about man, does this guy fit? It was kind of a slam dunk, no doubt about it guy. And, obviously, there's been a lot, about, the our other receiver, and you see on Twitter, and you see him dunking the basketball from like the half, from like the foul line. I mean, I can't do that, so that's pretty cool in my opinion. So, you got a guy like that, plus he's from Ohio, and that's pretty cool too. So here's the greatest thing that the early signing day period had is like this press conference is me going through like every name and telling you how good I think they're going to be. And then, telling you this is the greatest recruiting class in Iowa State history, right? That's cool that we don't have to do that and play that game. So I do like that, okay? Like, we don't know how good these guys are going to be for 3 years. I love recruiting. We're honest with the guys that we're recruiting. I think it dilutes the thing that really has got blown out of proportion in recruiting a lot of ways, right, is the hype train that comes with signing day and all those kind of things. I really do, I appreciate what it means to a young man to be recruited and earn a Division I scholarship. I think it's a powerful moment in a young man's life. What he does with that opportunity is what's really powerful, right? But I think sometimes this hype train of what it is, and every coach, I mean, what coach in the country is going to get up and say they had a bad recruiting class today? Nobody is, right? So I think sometimes it's a little bit overboard, but I'm glad that we don't have to do that anymore. So there's my podium talk today. I think, again, we do a really good job of scouring the country and not just staying centralized to where we are. And, I think one of the really good things about us is there's not stories out there where high school coaches are saying, man, those guys pulled a scholarship or they treated my kid the wrong way. Because I think at the end of it, we do things the right way. And no matter how we go about that, we really have honest conversations and we do it the right way. And I think that's the best thing we do. So, I'm flattering that other people are talking about us. That's grateful, and I appreciate it. But at the end of it, we're going to do it the best way to our ability to make our program be as successful as we possibly can be.